just the level that he's playing with, and the consistency that he's playing with is pretty special. You know, it was, obviously we didn't get that many sacks. He got the one sack, but was in the backfield all night and had a bunch of hurries and really affected the quarterback. It's just his motor. You know, we saw that in the summertime and workouts. He just always strains. You know, in practice he strains, and so it shows up in games.
Coach, Brandon Armstrong had a pretty good game against Richmond. What kind of challenges does he present for your defense?
Yeah, you know, accurate passer. Obviously, has played a lot of football, so he's experienced. He understands coverages. Dual threat. He can extend plays with his legs, and can go score when he breaks the pocket. You know, he had the long run, you know, this past week, and you know, we saw that firsthand as well a year ago. He's just an incredible athlete that can throw the football.
How much do you talk about with this game, retribution or revenge, if you will, after last year, wanting to get it back against them?
You know, I think it's in the back of people's minds, but you know, it's a new staff, you know, new system, a new system for us as well. And so, you know, new personnel, all of those things, but definitely you remember the losses, you know, and they took it to us last year at their place, and so I know our guys are excited to go play.
How would you describe that new system?
You know, so a year ago with Coach and I, they were very unconventional. You know, different formations, different personnel groupings. You know, you can tell that there are influences both from Clemson's offensive identity and really Kitchen's time at North Carolina State. There's kind of a marriage there, just off of that first game. A lot of 11 personnel. You know, a little bit of 12 personnel. But you know, zone schemes, you know, the different backfield sets, and more traditional pass concepts.
How would you describe, you know, the tale of two halves for Kendall in a sense of seeing the ball go over his head, but then making a big play on that pick on the first drive of the second half?
Yeah, I mean, really, it was that one play, right? So I don't even know if it was tell of two halves or the tell of one play versus all the others. You know, something that you got to learn from at times. You know, that scenario. Even though it wasn't a turnover, you almost got to treat it like a sudden change because of the punt. You know, we had shanked the punt, so they had started the possession, you know, near midfield, and from an identity standpoint, they were traditionally the shot takers in those type of scenarios. You know, I thought his alignment was good pre-snap. Just kind of got caught with his eyes in the backfield a little bit, and kudos to Indiana for taking advantage of that and really blowing the top off the coverage, and you know, we let one go over our head. We'll learn from it. We'll be better in those situations, and you know, but that wasn't. I don't think that was the end-all, be-all to the game. You know, just you know, we talk about self-assessment after losses and learning from losses, and I mean, you know, the third play of the game was my fault. You know, we started off big hit, awesome way to start the game, then we get the TFL, Sydney on the zone read, so it's 3rd and 16, and I've got a 3rd and long call in my head, but I know we can get off the field, and so you know, I'm not thinking they're going to go tempo. I've never seen anybody with tempo on 3rd and 16. You know what I mean? But they did, and they caught me trying to get our dime personnel out there, and that resulted in a 40-yard gain and ultimately a field goal, and you know, we ended up losing by 3 points. So you know, best believe I will log that memory and remember that moment for the rest of my career.
Last drive, some people thought it was prevent. It didn't look like a lot of prevent. Like, what happened on that last drive from your perspective?
I thought, yeah. So you know, I thought we got a little bit tentative, a little bit cautious. You know, and some of the techniques we play with was kind of uncharacteristic there. I got to do a better job though of calming us down in those situations and you know, mixing up some calls to kind of get us settled in. And then they executed. You know what I mean? And we didn't. You know, I was after we had made that field goal and went up 4. You know, I knew the 2-minute drive was coming. I was, you know, I think everybody to a man was confident on the sideline. Just came up short. You know, they outcompeted us that last drive. Like I said, I got to do a better job from a schematic standpoint of preparing our guys and being ready for that moment. You know, wish we could have that one back for sure, but like I said, we've learned from it. We watched that whole series as a defense, and I think are better for it now because of it.
Ron, how much do big plays hurt, and how frustrating is that for you when those big plays can make a difference?
Yeah, big plays. One of our goals is to limit explosive plays. We categorize that by 3 or less. Is you feel like you did decent during the course of the game, and they have more than that. And those are hard to overcome. Especially in tight games. So from a secondary standpoint, we got to keep a roof on the defense, and from an upfront standpoint, we got to transition rush and try to get back there. And but I thought for you turn on these games are tough because you turn on the tape and like 95% of the film is really good. And it's just you never know what play can kind of make or break the game, and you got to be stout and solid, all the way through the course of the game.
Coach, other than Johnny, do you have some concerns about the pass rush, particularly coming off the edge?
I wouldn't say concerns. Obviously, they threw the ball 50 sometimes, and we had 1 sack, but we were hitting them. You know what I mean? The ball was having to come out quick. I think that was a result of his completion percentage wasn't that high. You know what I mean? And a lot of that was him getting rid of the ball quicker than he wanted to. There are definitely things that we as a staff can do to design some pressures to try to get there faster, and the type of pressures we're bringing. But those things will come. It's game 2. We're going to always continue to get better, and I'm happy with the effort and with which they're trying to get to the quarterback, and the attitude with which they're getting there.
Along those lines, Gabe looked like he's worked himself into kind of some of those third down pass rushing situations. How did he so quickly kind of put himself in
he's a natural pass rusher. He physically, as a freshman, is ready to go. And he just, from what he shows in practice, during one-on-one pass rush situations, he's one of our better guys. And so as a result, you got to get him on the field to try to accentuate his strengths, and sort of handle what he can handle right now, being a young guy in the system. And we feel like third downs is a great way to get him acclimated.
What are your thoughts on the run fits, 1.2 yards per carry? I'm assuming you'll take that 10 more times this year.
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the points of emphasis coming off of the Wyoming week, was just everybody doing their job, staying in their gap and tackling well. And I feel like we did that. Their running backs were patient as well, and so sometimes that can be hard to be patient and staying in your gap. And our guys did that, and as a result, we were pretty stout in running.
Virginia's got
a key interception, draws a flag as well. What's your conversation with your guys about that? Is there anything about those calls that surprised you?
Just you got to have composure and poise. The one a week ago was a result of a blindside block or blindside hit from Wyoming's. It was reactionary, and then this one was celebratory. And we can't have post-snap penalties. Those will kill you. Just know the hidden yardage in the game, all that matters. And we talk about ways to lose games or penalties and mental errors and turnovers, and we've gotten penalties off as a result of good plays. We can't do that. Unforced errors are inexcusable.
Virginia's known for their wide receiver core, one of the better groups in the ACC. How do you think you guys match up with those guys?
Yeah, I'm confident in our guys. They are very long, athletic, on the perimeter at Virginia. But we got some scrappy guys. The Spoon isn't the biggest guy, but I don't know if anybody is going to hit as hard as he does out there on the perimeter. Same with the safeties, and I'm confident in our abilities, and we just got to put them in the right spots, and get them prepared for the type of concepts we're going to see on Saturday.
Coach, when you have a close loss like you did Friday, how do you keep that from having that be a problem the next game, or a hangover, so to speak, with you guys?
Yeah, you have to learn from, as a competitor. Some of the more valuable lessons are learned in defeat. It's as bad as you want to win, you got to hate to lose, and so when you do lose, you got to learn from it. And I think our guys are at that point where all lessons are learned and logged, and so I'm hopeful that we won't be, if we get in these situations again, that we'll be prepared for them. I know our guys are wanting that challenge and are not shying away from it at all. It was a very positive and productive post-game meeting to go over the tape and watch the tape. I think our guys are only more confident as a result of that. So, you know, it's early in the year, and we'll see where it goes from there.
I think Cass was limited in some capacity on that final drive. How big of an impact did that have, not having him out there?
So, I mean, obviously, he's in our top 2 corners for a reason, you know what I mean? So, if you don't have the guys, you don't have them, you know, but at the end of the day, you gotta have that next man up mentality, and that was some of the things we preached in that unit meeting after the game. And so guys just gotta be prepared and learn from corrections that you've made throughout the course of the game, maybe when you're not in there, so that you don't make the same mistakes that the starter was making that got corrected in game, you know what I mean? So those are all, again, lessons that we can learn.
We got time for one more here, if you need it. Anything else for Coach Weber? All right.